the glory days at the stick. From who's got it better than us to brick by brick. It's always the 49ers way, from off-season to game day. Yeah, we talk back. It's the 49ers Cutback.
It's 49ers Cutback Podcast time. We have a very important position battle to talk about today. The number 3 quarterback position. Is it going to be Sudfeld or the Rosen one?
The Rosen one. Chosen Rosen, you know. We love talking about Chosen Rosen. Sorry, threw up on my mouth a little bit there. Look, at the end of the day, this is an important one to discuss for a few reasons. But before we get into those reasons, you need to hit that like button right now and smash that subscribe button so you become a member of the Cutback crew today, so you hear more of these great position battle conversations, because there's tons of them to talk about. We still have a lot of them to talk about. This is one of them. It's important, though, because Kyle Shanahan likes to keep 3 quarterbacks. The reality of the situation, he's kept 3 quarterbacks the entirety of the time he's been here in San Francisco. It's the thing he likes. It's the thing he's comfortable with. And unfortunately for the 49ers, it means one of these guys may eat up a roster spot. And if that's the case, which guy is it going to be? Is it Josh Rosen, the guy with all the physical tools, who has the ability to push the ball down the field, the arm strength, all those things, who just hasn't really shown the decision-making ability? Or is it the big, tall, lanky guy in Sudfeld who has the arm, can push the ball downfield deep, maybe not the velocity, but the arm strength to push the ball far, and just really hasn't had an opportunity in this league to show a whole lot. And when he did have his chance last year, it didn't look too great. But these are 2 guys that we both feel like if the Niners have to go to one of these guys, your offense is in trouble. The season's probably a wash by this point. But they could do things, and who knows? Kyle Shanahan, you know, maybe he's the quarterback whisperer. Maybe we can get through to one of these guys. But Ant, who do you think has the heads up here in this battle for quarterback 3 spot for this team?
It all depends on how you look at it. If you're looking at it from a talent point of view, then you would obviously think it's Josh Rosen. Josh Rosen has more physical gifts than Sudfeld will ever have in his entire life. That is not the question, because Rosen has always been a gifted player. I mean, there's a reason that you get recruited to UCLA. There's a reason you get drafted number 10 in the draft. That's because you have physical traits and abilities that everyone sees and thinks, oh my gosh, this guy could be a big-time quarterback. The problem is the mental part of it for him, is he struggles reading coverages sometimes, forces footballs. Also, when games get pressure on him, he sometimes makes mistakes. So those are the things that I see. And number 1, I haven't seen the development from him. Arizona, Miami, Tampa Bay. I haven't seen him develop to where I think that he is a solid, backup in this league. And as far as Sudfeld goes, there's not a lot that's impressive about Sudfeld. I think the one area where Sudfeld has an advantage is the fact that he knows and has worked with Scangarello before, the quarterback coach. That fact and that, I guess, relationship makes me think that he has a little heads up in the non-physical attributes area. So can he beat out Rosen's physical gifts with that relationship, and then maybe a little bit better mindset as far as reading coverage? And that, I don't even know if he has a better handle on reading coverage than Rosen does. There's not enough film to show that. This is going to be a very interesting battle. I wonder who people think is actually going to win.
I mean, if you're a typical 49ers fan who peruses YouTube and listens to a lot of people, you might have heard Thanos talk about Josh Rosen a lot and think that, he's actually the untapped quarterback potential, and feel that this guy, is the guy. He's actually the guy, not even Trey Lance. Maybe this guy is our option. I've actually heard people say this who listen to Thanos. It is very, very concerning that this is the name that you're throwing out there and that you're comfortable with. Josh Allen, for me, is one of those situations Josh Rosen, my apologies, is one of those guys who you see out there, and I've watched enough of Josh Rosen now, that Josh Rosen isn't an unknown. He's a known for me. It's a known quality what you're going to get. Arm strength, check. Right? Ability to push the ball downfield, check. Guy who's willing to take some shots and take risks, check. Right? Dude, he can do those things. Can he read defenses? There's no check mark there. Will he make good decisions? There's no check mark there. Will he throw balls into double and triple coverage, there's a check mark there. Those are all questions and concerns. Because if you're a backup quarterback in this league, the premise of your job is to not make mistakes, not cost your team football games. Nick Mullins isn't in San Francisco for this reason, folks. Faithful. It's why he's not here. He made mistakes. CJ Beathard wasn't beating out Nick Mullins because CJ Beathard was making mistakes. Now, when he went in last season, he made less mistakes, and guess what? There's a reason why CJ Beathard right now is currently signed to a team. He didn't make the same types of mistakes that Nick Mullins did. At the end of the day, for me, it's one of those things where I know enough about Rosen to know that unless Sudfeld comes in and plays worse than what I've seen Josh Rosen play, I don't think Rosen has a great opportunity to make a roster. He couldn't beat out Blaine Gabbert in Tampa Bay last year. That doesn't bode well because Gabbert is like Gaff, like the Jared Gaff man. He's a Gaff machine. He makes mistakes constantly. He turns the ball over. He makes terrible reads. And Josh Rosen couldn't beat that out in Tampa Bay. I don't think the odds are in Josh Rosen's favor. I know he has the physical tools. Then again, change of scenery, new system, a very stable system in San Francisco in which a lot of the things are schemed for you to make good plays and make opportunities as long as you know where to look. It could be a different story here in the Bay with Kyle Shanahan, but I'm definitely not going to put many eggs, if any eggs, in the Josh Rosen basket.
Yeah, Kyle Shanahan, when he looks at quarterbacks, looks at different things. I mean, one of the reasons he got CJ Beathard was the big arm. Mm-hmm. He knew what it was going to take to unlock some parts of his offense that he hasn't been able to do yet. So he likes that about it. He didn't need an overly mobile guy. CJ was athletic, actually. So Rosen, as far as arm strength, is somebody that Kyle Shanahan would like in his system. But when you're, evaluating Kyle Shanahan's normal quarterback choices, he likes people that don't make mistakes. And Josh Rosen hasn't proven that he can't, not make mistakes. He does make mistakes, and usually pretty bad. Really? Rosen, once again, I don't know if Kyle Shanahan really wants Rosen. They did have Rosen already on the roster. They knew they were going to make a move for a quarterback. They knew they were going to probably keep Jimmy Garoppolo, and they still signed Nate Sudfeld. I don't know if that is just Kyle Shanahan making sure that he is set in case Rosen doesn't develop. Does he like Rosen enough that he can beat out Sudfeld, or was Sudfeld's just more of a let's make sure we don't have any issues in this room, but let's have these two guys that we'll feel comfortable if either one of them win the job?
I think that's kind of more where they are, but I by no means am one of those people who thinks Josh Rosen is secure and safe in that quarterback 3 slot, and that's his job for sure. And there are people out there that feel that way, and you're allowed to feel that way. Yeah. That's fine. But I don't think they make the moves that they made if that was truly the case, because there would have been absolutely no reason. I mean, you've seen it, right? When Kyle Shanahan is comfortable with the quarterback room, he'll just roll into camp with 3 quarterbacks. Mm-hmm. And we're good. And those are the 3 quarterbacks, and it is what it is. Where they end up on the pecking order and the depth chart may depend and may change, but he'll just roll in with 3. They're going in with 4 this year because he's not convinced about the back end. He's not convinced whether it was Rosen. That's why they brought in Sudfeld. And so this is going to be a highly contested battle. These 2 are going to get a lot of reps in the preseason, and one of them is going to play their way onto this roster, and one is going to play their way off of this roster.
There's 2 things that I'm going to say. Number one, everyone knows that I thought Josh Rosen was going to be a bust coming out of college. I did not think he was
accurate.
Going to be a top 10 level player. I just didn't see it. But I will say this, because I've watched enough Rosen, I've watched enough Sudfeld to know, I will not be shocked if Rosen wins this job. The physical traits, he could come out and have a very good training camp in preseason and win the number 3 job. I also would not be surprised if neither one of these guys win the 3 job, and there is no 3.
I would like that.
Because they have no issues rolling with the top 2, and if it's not those 2 guys, you're in a world of hurt. But you're right. Kyle Shanahan has always leaned towards having 3 guys. It could be one of them.
Or it could be none, and we would. I think both of us would be very happy campers if we just roll with 2 this year.
Well, and I have a dislike for Rosen in this cycle, not so much because of Rosen the player. Even though I don't think he's a top level quarterback, I don't think he's a bad quarterback. I think he's a good backup quarterback. My issue with him is when people put him. They were actually saying he should start over Jimmy Garoppolo. What? Huh? What was that? I think that is the part that made me kind of over the top on Rosen. As far as I'm like, come on, man, no, just no.
Come on, man.
Yeah, it's a real problem, but he is a competent player. He has the talent to play in the NFL. Can he do it in Kyle Shanahan's system? As much as I have faith in Kyle Shanahan and Scangarello, they can make it happen. But it's going to be fun to watch in the preseason because I think besides Trey Lance, I think Rosen's the next quarterback I want to see reps from. I'm not worried about Jimmy. I know what Jimmy can do. I think I want to see Rosen because I want to see if he can actually develop in Kyle Shanahan's system if there's any improvement in recognition and reads when he's looking at coverages.
I think that's the big thing for me too with Rosen is if there's something there like development wise, then great. You roll with 3 and maybe we're not in a world of hurt. But the problem is that we've seen Nick Mullins' decision making in this offense and how bad it can be when you're just not a capable quarterback of making those reads. And I've already seen what Josh Rosen can't do in this league, and that's make reads. So this may just be a situation where it's, you're punching a brick wall. You're not going to get through that brick wall punching it. You're going to have to go around it. And, Josh Rosen may not be able to do anything other than punch the brick wall. And you know what? It is what it is. It's time to move on. I would much prefer they just roll with 2 quarterbacks going into this year. I hope that they make that decision, especially if neither one of these 2 shows any sort of improvement or development. But I'm also very well aware that this is Kyle Shanahan's team and Kyle Shanahan's offense, and he's going to make the decision that he wants to make. I would much rather them use that roster spot to improve depth other places and keep around another talented guy who could actually have an impact on the field, because you and I both feel either one of these guys is not going to have an impact on the field, and if they are on the field, we're going to take a step back as an offense.
Yeah, you don't want that. You don't want either one of these guys to see the field in the regular season. The one thing I will say is Josh Rosen has been punching that wall because he's trying to get a foothold because he's going over the top, Alex.
Oh, okay.
You didn't see that coming. That is the swerve you weren't ready for. Rosen has been preparing to go over the top, and he just needed that foothold to be able to push his way up.
Not seeing any damage to the brick wall yet, though, so he's still got a ways to go.
Well, that's because they built it brick by brick.
That is true. They did build it brick by brick and with some very sturdy and impressive bricks. So Josh
did.
Rosen, you better get to punching, and the rest of you get to punching that subscribe button right now as well. Let us know what you think about this position battle. Sudfeld, Rosen, are we dead wrong and Josh Rosen is the future of the quarterback room? Or are we dead right and that both of these guys may end up not even be making this active roster and they go a different direction entirely? We want to hear from you. We want to have this conversation. And while you're down there having that conversation, don't forget to like the video and don't forget to share it with the rest of the faithful. And go check out the Cutback store. That merch store is fantastic. Look at that beautiful gear Ant has on right now. You could join the Cutback crew. And with that nice NWO Wolfpack inspired t-shirt right there, it is beautiful. You'll love to see it. Caleb, thank you for that.
Yeah, and this might be one of the last times we talk about quarterback 3. Besides when the cuts happen, I think this is one of the last times we talk about it because now it's all about being proven on the field. What they do. Maybe we'll talk about it when we break down the games, how they played, how they looked. But as far as this position battle, we know we need to watch it in camp. And then now what does everyone think? Who is going to win this job? I've seen kind of mixed results. Some people are saying Rosen, some people are saying Sudfeld, some people are saying neither one. I think all answers are at least fair and acceptable. But I'm curious what everyone actually thinks and who's going to win this job. And if Kyle Shanahan's going to keep 3 quarterbacks. There is a push from some people in 49ers land to not have 3 quarterbacks. I kind of like that.
It's not a bad idea at all whatsoever. Hey, Kyle, what's up? Maybe you should consider it. But hey, we'll have to see what happens.
He listens.
Yeah.
Obviously, he listens to the media.
Totally listens to the media. Yeah. He's definitely watching the 49ers Cutback and listening to everything that we say. And you know what? Because Kyle Shanahan is definitely doing that. You all should too.
I would sure hope so.
I mean, it would just be the smart thing to do.
Huge fans of Kyle.
Oh, big fans of Kyle.
Yeah.
Huge fans, especially when he throws footballs across the street into brick ovens. It's glorious.
Gotta love it.
Love it indeed. Listen, 49ers fans, we got a lot still to talk about, a lot of position battles. We'll see you on the next one. But until next time, you stay safe.
Remember, the right way
is always the 49ers way.